Hey everyone, you know those stories that just stick with you? The ones that start with something tiny, like a handful of beans, and somehow end up in a castle in the clouds? Well, today we're climbing right into one of the best, Jack and the Beanstalk. But we're going to look at it a little differently, as a hero's mission. So let me ask you something right off the bat. What if the biggest rescue ever took, turned out to be the biggest adventure of your life? Like a choice that looked like a total disaster at first, but it was actually the start of something amazing. Keep that in your head, because that's exactly where our story is going. All right, let's dive in. Section 1, A Boy on a Mission. Because really, Jack's family needed a hero. So first, let's meet our main character, a young boy named Jack. He lives with his mom, and they don't have much except for their one and only cow, Milky White. They're already pretty poor, but things are about to get really tough, and that's what kicks off Jack's big mission. So here's the big problem. On the one hand, what they had was their cow, Milky White. On the other, what they desperately needed was money for food. And one morning, it all comes to a head. Milky White has run dry. No milk. That means no food, no money, no anything. Their only choice? They have to sell the cow. And this is super important. Jack isn't just, running an errand. His mom gives him a mission, a really serious one. Sell the cow so they can survive. I mean, the fate of their family is literally on his shoulders. Talk about pressure, right? He just has to get it right. Okay, on to our next part, the mysterious magic beans. This is where we get a strange trade and a whole lot of fury from his mom. So Jack's on his way to the market, and his mission takes this wild, unexpected turn. He bumps into this funny-looking old man. And the weirdest part? The old man already knows his name. And he's got a deal for Jack. A very, very strange deal. So the man holds out these 5 really weird-looking beans. And he tells Jack if you plant them overnight, by morning, they grow right up to the sky. Whoa. Just imagine hearing that for a second. A ladder to the sky, basically. All for your one cow. What would you do? So what do you think? A cow for 5 beans. Is that a good deal? You're trading the only thing your family owns for a handful of beans and this wild story about a beanstalk to the sky? Well, Jack, he goes for it. He makes the trade, takes the beans, and heads for home. Yeah, Jack's mom, she did not think it was a good deal. Not at all. She was absolutely furious. She calls him all sorts of names, grabs those beans he was so excited about, and just chucks them right out the window. Then she sends poor Jack to bed without any supper. At this point, it really looks like Jack's mission was a complete and total failure. But then, the next morning, everything is different. That old man, he was telling the truth. Jack looks out his window, and there it is, a gigantic, massive beanstalk just soaring up into the clouds, higher than anyone could see. The real journey, the magical journey, is just getting started. And you know what Jack does? He doesn't even think twice. Step 1, he starts climbing that beanstalk, and he climbs and climbs and climbs. Step 2, he reaches the sky. He actually pops out above the clouds. And then, step 3, he finds a long, straight road. And where does it lead? Step 4, a huge, enormous house. A whole new world has just appeared out of nowhere. Okay, now for the really scary part, outsmarting a hungry ogre. Because it turns out this isn't just any giant house. It belongs to a giant, an ogre to be exact. And this ogre loves to eat. Well, he loves to eat people. Jack, who is starving, by the way, knocks on the door, and the ogre's wife lets him in for some food. But pretty soon, he hears the ogre coming home, and he has to hide, fast, or he's going to be breakfast. So Jack's hiding, holding his breath, and suddenly this giant ogre stomps into the room and starts sniffing the air. And then he roars, "Fee-fi-fo-fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he live or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." I mean, can you imagine? It is absolutely terrifying. But lucky for us, Jack is not just brave, he's also really clever. And this is what's so amazing about Jack. He doesn't just survive and run home. No way. He goes back up that beanstalk 3 separate times. On the first trip, he hides in an oven and manages to snag a bag of gold. The second time, he hides in the oven again. And this time, he gets a hen that lays solid gold eggs. And for the third trip, hiding in a copper pot this time, he steals a magical golden harp that sings all by itself. Unbelievable courage. All right, this is it, the great escape, a race for his life. Because on that third trip, Jack's luck kinda runs out. Just as he's grabbing that beautiful golden harp, the harp itself cries out, "Master! Master!" Well, that does it. The ogre wakes up, sees Jack with his harp, and the chase is on. Jack doesn't wait around. He bolts for the door, clutching that harp, and just scrambles down that beanstalk as fast as he can possibly go. But right behind him, he can hear the ogre letting out this furious roar. He's coming after him. And then the entire beanstalk starts to shake and tremble like crazy. That huge, heavy ogre is on the beanstalk, climbing down right behind him. Jack hits the ground and just screams, "Mother! Mother, bring me an axe!" His mom comes running out of the house, looks up, and just sees these giant legs coming down through the clouds. She's so scared, she just freezes. But Jack doesn't have time to be scared. He grabs the axe himself and just starts chopping. Chop! Chop! He cuts clean through that massive stalk. The whole thing comes crashing down, and the ogre with it. And that, as they say, was the end of the ogre. And just like that, the danger is gone. Jack did it. He didn't just survive, he came back a hero. It's amazing to think how those 5 little beans ended up changing, well, everything. So what did life look like after all that? Well, first off, they became super rich thanks to that hen laying golden eggs every day. They had beautiful music all the time from the golden harp. And with all that new wealth, Jack ended up marrying a great princess. And yep, they all lived happily ever after. I'd say Jack's mission was a huge success, wouldn't you? So let's go all the way back to the beginning for a second. Remember that old man with the beans? It's so easy to think he just tricked this poor kid, right? Trading their only cow for 5 beans. But when you see how it all played out, maybe he didn't trick Jack at all. Maybe, just maybe, he gave him an opportunity. And that's the big idea I want to leave you with today. What if that mysterious old man knew exactly what Jack's family needed? What if he wasn't some random trickster but was actually helping Jack complete his mission, just in a totally magical and unexpected way? Something to think about, right? And that's the fantastic story of Jack and the Beanstalk, based on the classic tale by Joseph Jacobs. What an adventure! Thanks so much for climbing up into the clouds with me today. We'll see you for the next one.